Hello to each and every one of you. My name is Larry D. Reid, as you can see by the tag down there at the bottom. And I am the host of Larry Reid Live that comes on every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is your absolute most favorite entertainment, digital news, and talk show. And we have the conversation. Absolutely. And I hope that you are able to hear me. And I hope that you guys will like and you will share. I'm not in the studio. I did text about 5,000 of you to let you know that I am on right now. Once again, this is a legit entertainment news, digital entertainment news, and talk, entertainment based here on social media and on our website, and we come on many times a week. It's really important for you to text Larry Reid Live, no spaces, to 33222 so that you will be able to get notified whenever I come on. I'm just in my bedroom right now, and just finished doing some work. Took a break from doing some work. Got to go to a business coaching class at 6:30, I think it is. But I wanted to talk to you for about 30 minutes about some of the stuff I've been posting today here and there whenever I had a few minutes. If you are not interactive on the Facebook page and the YouTube communities and Twitter, you should be, to have the conversation with us. And also, everybody remember to, somebody already asking for the Cash App. Thank you so much for supporting. I'll get to that in a little bit. If you are on IG, follow us on IG there. In the stories, we always post whatever it is we're posting on the Facebook and on the YouTube community. We always do that. And on the IG, we post little clips from the show. So you don't want to miss that. You don't ever want to miss that. So you can just have your voice heard there and be in the conversation. And to be honest, we learn from each other because we don't all know everything. Thank you so much, Kelvin Alexander. I saw what you just done just now. And the way I got some stuff set up, I should be able to see everybody's everything. Okay, so all right, so we're about to get started. I want you guys to hear this audio in our president's voice. And I'm going to keep referring back to the last week of February, the 3rd and the 4th week in February, because there were some things that I shared with you guys and we talked about in that exchange. That's why you need to be following on the Facebook page we used to call them message boards. I don't know what they're called now, just on the page and also in the YouTube community. Thanks to those of you that are patrons and you've signed up to our Patreon. Now, this is where we laugh and we cut up. Sometimes it's information based. It may be a little serious out here, but rarely. But over there in Patreon, we have all different type of conversations. And then there's more education, empowerment based. We have prayer every week. I mean, it's for real spiritual. We even done communion the other Sunday, So if you want to be have a spiritual nexus, maybe you don't have one, that's a great community over there. And we talk about everything over there. So go on over there and join. Go to patreon.com. Click Patreon, become a patron, sign up, download the app, turn your notifications on. You'll get a notification and an email whenever I post something. So you don't want to miss that over there. And those of you that are already patrons, you're actually going into our new subscriber base that's on my site. And we're working through the kinks there. In fact, I'm going to be over there this week, patrons live twice, once with our tech guy to make sure everybody send their email over to get access to that. So we start working out the kinks. Because we got like our own Facebook and we put our own profile. Let's go live from there. It's really dope. Spend a lot of money and getting that done and a whole lot of man hours to get that done. All right. And shout out to all of you guys that click, like, and view and share. And I see you donating whenever I come live. Thank you. I think Mark Keller. I think I just saw somebody pop up. All right, let's have the conversation. Now, it was the last week of February, the 3rd or the last week in February. I have begun to hear, because the first death that happened in the divided states of America, that would be the US of the 8. I heard the first death was like around the 27th of January. Now, mind you, because I'm always scouring the internet, I had actually heard near the end of the year something about some disease. Somebody said, Larry, your voice is a little hoarse. Yes, I need to catch up on some rest. I really need a vacation. You're right. Thank you, Jay DeBalby. Thank you so much for sending that $8 over here while I'm live. Okay, so let me tell you what happened. So I seen all of the stuff here and there. I'm like, the thing put a check down in my spiritualizations. Now you may hear me say spiritualization. I'm really talking about down in my spirit and this part of my body. Whenever I get that feeling, that make me really feel like I'm really trying to get a communication or something from the Lord. Oh, remind me to tell you guys about a dream. I done told Patreon, but I can tell y'all like here a dream I had, because thank you so much, Amelia Dalton, because I really think it's connected to something. You may want to do some stuff in the stock market. Now, let me tell you this now. If you over there in Patreon, you was over there that day when my mentor, who is none other than America's Black prophet of God, Bernard Jordan, when he told us about the XPI, and shoot, I'm not supposed to say what it was. Okay, let me just let that go, because that's for patrons. But anyway, some of you guys invested, done the calls and everything, hundreds of thousands of dollars, $10,000. One person over $1 million. They yielded in 30 days from listening to that little bit of direction. Because sometimes, let me tell you the difference between a psychic and a prophet of God. Though I'm getting way off. A prophet of God just say whatever they get from the Lord, the Holy Ghost revealed to them. But our spirit is really in tune. We eat a certain way, pray a certain kind of way, so that we can always keep our gift, sensitized to where we're able to receive. Because although it's coming from God, it's still a communication spirit to spirit. So liken them to real witches, we have to make sure we have a regimen to where our spirit body is at least viable and pliable to spirit world, because God communicates with us in spirit. But prophet of God, I'm gonna say what the Spirit of God tell them now. I see all of you guys supporting. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I see you hit Cynthia Easton. I see you guys hitting, but I gotta talk. So I'm thank you. Know that thank you. All right, so he just got one of them communications. Like I just got one this morning. I sent it to him and said, I can see that. I saw a McDonald's like you have never seen before. Thank you, Shawana Staggers. I saw a McDonald's like you've never seen before. But remind you to tell you about that before I sign off. Let me get back to what we're talking about. Now, in February, I saw the thing in November, December. Then I went to New York in January for all the prophets to get together. Thank you, Jania Bailey. I went there, and then you remember, if you were watching the show, I actually got sick when I got lost in Times Square and I went live. That's a funny video too. You need to watch that. Thank you, Amy Perry. And then I walked way down somewhere and I got sick. Then my cousin, Aunt Boo, who is a comedic commentator, she came with her child. We done the show. Thank you, Grendel. Done the show. Oh no, Grendel, you inboxing me on Patreon. We done the show, and then she got sick and they went back home. Y'all remember all of that. So came up out the sickness. It took a while, because you remember I took all different types of antibiotic and that thing wouldn't leave me for a piece. I kept coughing, couldn't even do the show, coughing over and over again. But anyway, so somewhere around about February, that thing start coming in my spiritualizations about this. They're saying COVID-19. I think they were saying the coronavirus. Now I already knew we were hunting for a dessert. You're right, but it was a plant. It was a vegan piece of cake, but that thing is good. And so I was something about it. I just knew that this thing was not right. Thank you, Veronica. And I knew that something was going to transpire. So I began to make these posts. One of the posts that I made, I said that I felt as though that this COVID-19 thing is going to be something that's going to be really big. I also said that I felt like it was going to become a pandemic. And I may have said I said pandemic. I used the word pandemic. And then I made a mention about, I really see us wearing masks all the time, because I really feel like this thing is airborne. So then somewhere in March, what began to happen in March, somebody said, get to the point, Reid, you got to be new, because that just don't happen like that. somewhere in March, I think near the very beginning part of March, the first week of March, because I end up having America's Black Prophet of God on like the 9th of March. But leading up, thank you, Diane Golden. Leading up to there, I made a statement and I said that I feel as though this thing is airborne. And I also said this. Yes, I have lost weight. We're on the Build Your Immune System Health Challenge. Remind me to say something about that too before I sign off. So thank you, Aretha Bryant. I said over and over again. Now remember this part, because this goes with what I'm talking about today. Because what am I talking about? Thank you, Michael Broadhead. I am talking about what Bob Woodard done played, and I'm going to play it for you. Go ahead, hit and like and share. I have the audio. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. What he recorded of the Presbyterian saying on audio February the 7th. This is when the Presbyterian president, businessman, entertainer, he's a businessman and entertainer that holds the presidential office. When he said this was on February the 7th. And I said to you guys the first week in March, I said, when it comes to this pandemic, you better not trust anybody on CNN, MSNBC, Fox. Remember me telling you guys that? We cannot believe what anybody says. And do not trust, thank you, Andrinez. Do not trust what anybody is saying at all. I said, they're going to be saying this is my key thing I kept repeating. Now, y'all had to tell these folks again so they don't know, so they don't think I'm lying and coming behind something. I said, this is the key thing I said. They're going to be saying what's best for them to say, but it's not going to be in our best interest. I kept saying that. Do y'all remember me saying that? I kept saying that over and over again. I said, they're going to say what's in their best interest. Thank you, Justin J. Horn. I always said it over and over, and I hoped it. Yes, I'm country. I hoped it. I hoped that y'all was listening to me. I do believe some of you guys were. I do know some of you won't because y'all got COVID. And I'm not saying that if you get COVID, that means you won't listen to me. But I did talk to some of you, and you didn't listen to what I told y'all about isopropyl alcohol and also about building your immune system. Y'all need to tag your relatives in this to listen to what I am saying, because what I am saying is the truth, number one, and it's also preventive. Because I also said this, 70% of us are probably going to get it. I also said some of us probably already had it because they really was not sharing information as they should have. Thank you, Catino, Latanya. And now we know for a surety that this is what the truth is. And I don't know how long this video is going to stay up, because I don't know if YouTube is going to let it be monetized or what, because of what I'm saying. And that's why I didn't put certain words in the title, but it may not matter. They may not keep it from I'm staying up or being monetized anyway. I said, we cannot trust our government. We cannot. I don't care if you're black, white, blue. This is not a black vote conversation. I'm talking to all LRLers of every faith and every shade, especially if you're not in the top 1%. Thank you, Rashid Rana. You can't trust we can't trust our government, period. We can't trust it because I don't know what game they're playing. Now, I had originally said, and I posted earlier today, that one sentence I put in there, I took out. I posted a clip that was on CNN Politics IG page, and it basically said Trump had concealed the truth about COVID-19. But then it went on to quote what he said when he said he did not want to cause panic and that he was trying to basically keep it pretty positive. I have been saying I felt like that's what he was doing. Now, let me put this caveat out there. I am a naturally positive person, not suspicious, and I believe the best in everybody. So for me, although everybody hated Trump, I really didn't hate Trump and think the worst of him. I just took him at face value. I knew he said things that were racist. I knew he said things that sort of stirred people up and created tension and was very divisive. I knew about all that, but I didn't hate him. Thank you, Didi. I did not hate the man. I just didn't like some of the stuff he do, and I thought he was more funny than anything prior to this year. Then I'm like, okay, you're making me side eye you. And so when I made that post today, I said, this is what I said to you guys. I felt like that he was saying all this fluffy talk just to not cause panic and to keep things as positive as possible. Okay, there are 3,392 of you watching me between YouTube and Facebook. Hit like and share. Thank you, Anita Wilson. Now, I made that post before I put a sentence in there. I really think this is CNN, because CNN and all the people can be sideways. I said, I think CNN is saying he concealed it, but I think that's just CNN putting their spin on it. Now, I don't went back and edited that and took that out of there now. Because then after that, because I got a whole life, and this is a one-man show. And really, that's the reason why I do these lives now, aside from my Monday show, from my room, is because when I do it like this, it's just me that click, and I just talk, and I ain't got to pay nobody extra. But when I'm on the set, everybody around is getting paid. Save money. Thank you, Monisha Ramsey. So, it was very intriguing to me when I seen this audio. And I'm going to play the audio for you guys. Here's the audio that was leaked by, and you're going to see this in my thumbnail. You see Bob Woodard. Now, Bob Woodard and the president had a real authentic relationship, so much so that the president knew that Bob was actually going to be writing a book, and the president would give him quotes for his book. But what he did not know, hallelujah, was that this man that he recording some of everything and all their conversations on nothing confidential. So that's how we got this clip right here. Now, hold on. Now, mind you, this is February the 7th. February the 7th. Listen to this here.
Goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air. That's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff.
Okay, listen to what he said at the beginning. Listen.
Goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air. That's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff.
When he said this is 5%, because see, the flu is 1% or less as it relates to the contagion, the ability for it to pass from person to person. Now, when it comes to the COVID-19, it's like 5%. So it's like 5 times more easier for you to get hold of it. Now, this is extremely important for us to remember, because February the 7th is when this conversation took place. But it was after that the president, now this is the thing that tear me up. Many of you may not be let down, but I'm sort of lightweight let down, because I always think the positive about any and everybody. And I believe whatever story you tell me, unless my spiritualizations or my tinker say, pay attention to this hicker, this person is lying. And this is so unfortunate, because I was a pastor for 20 years. That Leadership 101 is to do what is best for the entire. Even if that means on a personal level, it may not be the thing that you want to say, because it could, injure someone that is hearing it, or somebody will get a wrong understanding. But you still have to do what needs to be done for the entire. And the reality is this. It's not just Trump, but I got 2 other faces that's in this thumbnail. I put Bob Woodard, because I feel like if he got this recording February the 7th, okay, Bob, I know you're trying to do a book. It just looks like everybody's all about the money. I know you're trying to do a book, but what he is saying needs to be said every darn where. I got two more people that's on this thumbnail. Thank you, Patricia Smith. Birx, Dr. Birx, and also Fauci. Now, with this being said, Fauci was probably the closest we got to somebody telling us what was real and what was true. The president, Birx, and everybody else, head of CDC, Redfield, the head of the what's the food man? I can't remember what they let us, FHA or whatever it is. All these folks, these people is out their whole mind. It was all about politics. It was all about doing things the way protocol, and it was not about the American people. Now, I want to say this because everybody's saying, you know, there's 200,000 lives that could have been lost. First of all, we ain't finished counting. So you don't even need to be saying about the lives lost. You need to be thinking about the people that are sick or have gotten sick, like my sister's husband, who after he was sick, he had COVID feet and he still ain't right. So these people who may not have died, their quality of life and in actuality, their lung quality, they have lost 20 to 30% of their lungs function forever. So this is not a matter of 200,000 people whose lives were lost, not that only, but it's also about the people whose quality of life will never be the same and the people who will die. Because what happened during those months from the federal level is that the government continually said and played down the reality of the deadliness of this disease and that it was airborne. I said to my followers, because I can tell when I feel something in my spirit as opposed to my tangle-tangles. I know it sounds funny, but my tangle-tangles, that can go either way. Well, that thing get down in my spirit, I be knowing what I'm talking about. And I say, you need to wear your mask. Stay up out of them restaurants. They even done an example showing how it can pass using the air condition. It can go from person to person. I even said to people, y'all gonna go to church, you can go to a restaurant. Maybe you need to sit outside. Maybe you need to stay away from people. If you go to church, how about not running the air condition? Because the thing is airborne. All this stuff I'm talking about is attack on the church and attack on our faith. Okay, you can say all that if that's what you want to say, if that's how you feel. But the reality is some people are going to get this disease and their life will never be the same ever again. And some are going to get it and their life is going to be over. I am so disappointed because I do understand politics and how it has to be played, but at the same darn time, I thought that on some level, but I knew better than that. I knew better than that. I knew this really quick. Sometimes, you know, my baby mama is right. Sometimes I'm just being absolute stupid because I already knew these folk were going to be lying. But it's just hard to believe that you would let folk get sick and sending people back to school in the same audio. I didn't put that one on my phone. And the same audio, he said the children can get it too, but he kept saying on the TV, oh, it's just like the flu. Oh, it's just going to go away. Oh, the children, they're almost immune. They're almost immune. All of this, all the while he was knowing what he was being told by, I'm going to believe Fauci and Birx. But they did not break rank good enough, in my opinion, to then come to the American public and say, we done told the president this, but they're going to spin it in the way they want to. I don't even care about this job. I don't even really care about the money they're going to take away from me. This is what's going to happen. Fauci probably came the closest. Birx and Fauci didn't lie to us, but they didn't tell us the truth neither. Now, you know how when people do like that. It ain't that they told you a full lie. They just didn't tell you what you needed to know. Bob Woodard didn't tell us no lie. Birx didn't tell us no lie. And Fauci didn't tell us no lie. But they did not tell us what we needed to know. And I hope you guys will tell everybody. And this is not fear-mongering. I'm not trying to make you be fearful. I never was trying to make you be fearful. But I was trying to get you to understand how serious it was. How you can end up, you wake up dead. You wake up one day and you dead and don't know why nobody don't hear what you're saying. You walk around the house and you say, why ain't nobody paying no attention? That, oh, Lord, what's going on? Lord, I just walked through that door. Let me come back in here. Lord, I'm laying on the bed. I'm dead. I done woke up and I'm dead. Can't nobody see or hear me. I was just trying to keep y'all from experiencing that. You wake up there, it's lonely. Ain't nobody there but you. So that's what I was trying to do. But I hope, can you hear the conversation now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It reminded me going back in 2015 when I got online and said, okay, God told me all the churches that we need to build on in cyberspace and that we need to get our ministries online and that we need to go beyond the four walls of the church and do ministry in the digital space. It reminds me of that. It's like I be saying stuff and folk don't be listening to what I be saying until it's too darn late. Now you know what's airborne. So let me tell you that this is my warning. This is September. Y'all, we are going into flu season. So flu is respiratory. COVID-19 is respiratory, and it's infectious respiratory disease. So do you know what that means? That means there ain't no guessing in no second wave. Of course there's going to be a second wave. Not only that, somebody said, well, it ain't been that bad. It ain't been that bad. Well, it's been summertime. Most of us here in America, it's been summertime. That virus has protein, has fat. You break down in any one of those things, and it makes it to where the disease is not as potent. Because we had all this sun, all these UV rays, and this heat, the fat has been broken down. So it hasn't even been as contagious as it could be. Why was it so contagious in the first part of the year? Because it was still cool weather. Going into the spring was still pretty cool until it getting to the summer months. And so let me tell y'all this here. We're going now into where it's going to be cool. Now, there's something that happened every time you go outside, you're going to catch a cold. I always wonder, I said, what they mean by that? I'm going to catch a cold. What is the cold air what make me sick? No, it's what happens to the immune system in cold air. In cold air, in the cold environment, your immune system does not operate the same way it does in warm air. So that means you are more susceptible to catching a cold when the air is cold. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So if you take the COVID-19 and you take the regular flu season, which the flu season has been worse in the last few years than it's ever been. So you factor in that with the COVID-19 and the air been cold, and y'all forgot there not wearing your mask, not washing your hands and your hand. Some of y'all gonna be dying. Or some of y'all gonna be next to dead, or some of y'all gonna just end up with, your complication and your quality of life change forever and a day. Like what happened to my sister husband and the church that I visit here, Pastor Martin, he got sick. His child got sick. Both his children got sick. One lost 60 pounds, one lost 40 pounds, one lost 20 pounds or something like that. This thing is serious. So you have to be cautious. This is what you need to do. I'm gonna tell you what has popped in my chest. And this thing, it's so funny because this thing hopped up in my chest this morning before I even found out everything that I found out. This hopped up in my chest, shot down in my spiritualizations right after I had that. I couldn't even halfway sleep the last few nights. And when I can't sleep, my personal assistant knows it because I be worrying him to death. His room way on the other side of the house. But he'll tell you, if I can't sleep, that means he can't sleep. And he'll tell you, I ain't been sleeping. And so let me tell you this here. What is going to happen? What you need to do, you need to go right back. You remember when America's Black Prophet of God first got on in March, the first show we had, and he repented, basically saying that as a prophet of God, mind you, he wrote the book that this was going to be happening, forgot all about it. One of his spiritual children had to come and say, you wrote this in the book, Written Judgments, about all of this that is going on and what will be happening across our world. And then like, oh, okay, well, let's begin to focus on this. Remember, he said, had we been walking in the spirit, the church would have been at the forefront. And then people on CNN and on TV, on Fox would have been saying, okay, church people, for some reason, they'll stop going to church and they're starting to wear masks. If we really prophets, we supposed to get that thing before it come. And that ain't enough. I'm taking for somebody who's prophetic and prophesying my whole life. That ain't enough because God will give you the message, especially you praying in the spirit and doing what you need to be doing, fasting and keeping your spiritual regimen and meditation. You'll get the communication, but you have to write it down and you have to set it before your eyes to remember and be guided by that word. That's a whole nother problem because a lot of us ain't got the discipline that we need. So this is what I'm telling you here. You got to remember. Don't they put the re on it? Member, not remember. Member what I'm saying here. What we need to do right now is to go back on a personal shutdown. Let me make sure y'all got this. We need to go on a personal shutdown. Thank God for Bob Woodard, the whistleblower, but you ain't blow that whistle quick enough. Now we side-eyeing you too. All of y'all about money. Every last one of y'all don't care nothing about, y'all ain't right. Because now everybody go buy your book. But look at all the folk that's dead. Y'all don't care about nobody but yourself. Y'all don't care about nobody but yourself. What does that look like? Okay, first of all, let me catch everybody up. Because some of you probably watching me for the first time, you're not an LRL. Or you only watch when I'm talking about something that happened in the world and like spilling tea or gossiping, however, and just when you come on here to laugh, like, oh, about that Larry here good, but you don't even know that there's an empowerment in the educational side. Unless you in Patreon, you really probably don't even know it out here. You need to listen to what I'm saying. We are on a Build Your Immune System Health Challenge. This is what it consists of. We went on this over 30 days ago. In fact, 32 days ago, I put everybody on this. I asked everybody to come on this. Number one, come off of red meat, build your immune system. Going into these fall months, it is extremely important that you cut back on your breads. You cut back on everything that is white. You say no to sugar and to juices. You just totally cut that out to bring all your sugar and salt intake down. And then increase all of your water, which is me basically explaining what our Build Your Health System Challenge is. And we all have been doing breathing exercises laying on our face. Well, one LRL and also the bishop who a church I go to, I told you one of the greatest churches here in Atlanta, Bishop Martin, he says that his doctor, basically the reason why he's alive, because his doctor told him to get on his face and breathe and do the same exercises I've been telling y'all. Now, if you're in Patreon, we had a doctor that went live to put this on the internet. It went viral, but everybody ain't see it. They ain't put it on my main page. I just put it over there in Patreon for a second. Look, this is confirmation what I was telling you guys. Because the COVID-19 does focus on the lower part of your lungs, the back part. So you're going to feel bad and want to lay down, but don't you lay down. You need to start talk. In fact, get on your face and breathe. So start building up your lungs. That's what you need to begin to do. And intake more water, half your body weight in ounces of water. And then the other thing I forgot the other stuff that I told. Oh, I know what it is. The vitamins. Because one physician told us, I'm not going to say their name, but they told us over there in Patreon when we were having a closed session, she said that one thing that they saw in all COVID patients, thank you, Muriel, how the vitamin D was low and certain things, the minerals were out of the body. So the sun is about to go in. It's going to be extremely important now for you to find whatever foods you can to get the minerals and the vitamins that you need, and also take supplements like these vitamins, vitamin D3. If you first getting on it, first of all, go and get your blood panel work done and find out where is it at? Where does it fall? We found out some people that were in Patreon were 9 and 12 when they needed to be 90 and 80. This is horrible. And if you black and got melanin, you got a sun blocker. So although you went through the summer months, you probably still ain't got the D3 you need. So get your D3 up, get your vitamin C, take your omegas, take your zinc. These are the things you need to be doing. And if you're LRL and you just ain't been coming over here for the gossip and for the laugh and for the good time and been listening to both sides and that's why you need to be a Patreon too, or you're going to miss something that can save your whole life. Had one Patreon that got COVID-19, and the reason why they got COVID-19 because they thought I was being over the top when I told them when you bring your groceries in and your mail in, spray them down. At first I said spray them down with Lysol and quarantine them. Remember that? Then I switched that thing and said no. Get isopropyl alcohol that's 70% or stronger. Spray it down because it breaks down that virus in 30 seconds. It breaks down the protein. I also told you guys about getting this big old fan, the UV fan. We turn that on at night on the second floor where people come in, where we come in and out of our house, which is going to go right back to how it used to be. Just one of us leaving the house once a week, once or twice a week from this household and the other household, the Bryant's household. So that's what it's going to go back to. But we turn that thing on because that UV actually kills the fat in the virus. You guys are going to have to shut this thing down or you're going to end up getting sick. I'm not trying to make you scared. I'm just trying to bring you the knowledge, and then you decide how you want to fool up with this knowledge. But I'm telling you, you don't need to be looking at this TV right now and believing what everybody is saying. Because these folk clearly, it's not about telling you the truth. It's about telling you whatever that thing is to get you to act a certain kind of way. And they allegedly was trying to keep from pandemonium happening with the pandemic. Well, I'm so sorry to tell you, there's going to be a little piece of pandemonium that is connected to a darn pandemic. Heck, it's the root word almost. Damn. Now, another thing that is good for you to do, but you got to be careful with this, is go ahead and detox your belly. If you've been on red meat, you ain't got time to sit here and try to wait and come off your red meat and then take all the weeks that it takes for you to go ahead and go on the detox. But if you do that, make sure you take it in the minerals and the vitamins you need to take in. Make sure you're not making yourself vulnerable or susceptible to any kind of diseases. Because a lot of time in a detox, what you end up happening, you're getting short of this over here and short of that over there. And before you know this, them throw it off over there. So we don't want that happening to nobody that's under the sound of my voice. So that is also my warning. Now, let me say, I said there are two things to remind before I get off. I'm about to get off. Number one thing is this morning, I believe it was a vision. I felt like I was in the future. And what it was, somebody said, oh, you want to hear the recording one more time? Here's the recording, and then I'm going to go into what I was going to tell you.
Goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air. That's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff.
Okay, yeah, somebody said something about this strain of coronavirus is not the 21-year-old one that was discovered in the 1960s. It's not even the same thing that's in the bats, who carry the coronavirus. When that thing got jumped from the bat to the other alleged host before it got to the humans, which I don't believe that's what happened, that thing mutated, and it has also mutated since. And those of you that have had it, they got the antibodies. You don't keep them antibodies, but some of you, they're little as 2 weeks, some 2 months, some 3 months. So this is not the same thing. And taking 2,000 IU of vitamin D a day is not enough if you just start and take 10,000 for 2 weeks and then drop down to 5,000 a day if you're colored. Now, make sure you go to the doctor and make sure your numbers are right, because some of your numbers may be proper. You don't need to do that. But I'm just saying as an overall general, I sent my parents some vitamins. You need to send it to your parents too and tell them to stay in the house. If you got to order them some groceries and send them there, do whatever you got to do to keep your older, vulnerable people in the house. Okay, now, so this is what I drink. I can't remember the other thing I said I need to say before I get off the thing, but y'all got to remind me. Somebody need to text me something. Kendall, if you got my Kendall, text me whatever I said that I was going to do. So my mentor texted me and said, yeah, that's right. The prophets once again warning the church before the scientists do, and they don't listen. I don't know what in the whole hell and the heaven is going on. Anyway, it seemed like I'm gonna call it a dream, but it seemed like I was in the future. Yeah, I'm on it to where now I only have to do 10,000 twice a week a day, because I went to my doctor, got my blood panel work, and I was at 62, but I was already on the vitamin D3, and so I got another. Thank you, Gwendolyn. I got another, and this probably because I'm doing this live, I'm not gonna get no monetization. So if any of you want to donate, please do. I'm gonna type it in there so you can see it. She told me I only needed to do the 10,000 twice, 2 days out of the week. She said, because I was doing pretty good where I was. All right, let me get to this now. Somebody said you didn't finish saying what we need to do. Go back to it. I think I did. Okay, I will know. Don't you take that. My suggestion, I am no doctor, do not take the vaccine. Get your immune system up, eat proper, do your 10,000 steps a day. That's also in the Build Your Immune System Health Challenge. do your 10,000 steps a day and get as much sleep as possible and take care of yourself. If you have to travel, you have to go places, do what you need to do. But you absolutely positively cannot trust the leadership from the presbytener down. And I'm not Democratic. I'm not Republican. I'm Larry Reid. And I don't trust none of y'all. Nobody has our best interests. Okay. So somebody said, I'm just tuning in. Thank you, Clady. Somebody said you're just tuning in. You're gonna go back and watch. I'm about to. Somebody said, Larry, please be careful. I'm giving doses regarding vitamins is concerned to prescribing, and it could get you into legal trouble. No, it can't get me into legal trouble because I'm not representing myself as I'm not even close to being a medical doctor. And I said as a blanket statement that you do need to do 10 UI. And let me tell you why. But I also said go to your doctor and get your blood work so that you can judge that thing as well. No, I can't. But thank you for looking out for me. But no, I can't. So here we go. So I think I'm gonna call it a dream, but I really think I probably was in a vision because I feel like I was in the future. Oh yeah, goggles if you're going on the plane. I would even do that if I would, if you got to go in somewhere there's a lot of people. Remember, I mentioned to you guys about the goggles. Now, we didn't hear nothing about the eye stuff till later on, but remember, I mentioned it to you guys because I got it from a billionaire on a billionaire call, and they were, I can't even say the company that was on the call, but they were saying some of us are getting sick and we need all of you guys to stay in your positions in these companies. So if you're getting on commercial flights, wear goggles because some people are getting it through the eyes. So yeah, drinking your ginger. Okay, so here we go. So I think I'm gonna call it a dream, but I actually think it was a vision because I was at McDonald's, and what I began to see at McDonald's was the menu, and I saw all of their products, but their products were totally different. Their products were, I'm gonna say, thank you, Spirit of Love. I'm gonna say that the products were plant-based. That's what I'm gonna say. But I do remember seeing the word farm fresh. I remember they had farm fresh burgers. They had all of these different products and even had implemented green into their logo and into their representation into what they were presenting. It went from, there wasn't gold and red and white anymore. It had a green that was in it. It was like a red, gold, and a green. And they had changed all of their products. And so when I began to write down what I saw, and I tried to draw, wish I could really draw. I was trying to draw what I was seeing. I remember when I was writing this down, and the thing that kept coming to my mind was everything that America's Black prophet of God had been saying. And a few other people that had actually had on the show, and some of the people that I'm reading, and even the doctor that I had on the LRL Patreon. And I began to think to myself, and I said, I believe that this vision was not only symbolic of those things that I have heard, but I also think it was symbolic of what we're going to see happening, not just with McDonald's. I do believe that it was a vision. So therefore I was in the future of McDonald's. I also think that it's symbolic of what we're going to see on some other major food chains and probably food grocery stores. McDonald's had bought or hired rather a whole bunch of farmers. There's a whole bunch of farmers that they had hired, and they were in contract with these farmers. They were doing nothing but producing what needed to be produced in order for McDonald's to fulfill their orders. I remember saying that, and I remember saying the word farm fresh, and I may be leaving something out because I'm talking off the top of my head. So I think all of that reiterates the conversation that we have already been having on the platform, the conversation I said today, as far as coming off of the red meat. And I think that this is probably for a period of time. For some of you, it may be a total life change forever. But and also, I would take this. Those of you that invest, I would invest in McDonald's. I would invest in McDonald's. I would do that. And remember, if you're investing now, if you want my financial wellness plan and Patreon, because over there we teach, giving to your personal profit, 2.5% of what you make, which sound like pennies, but it only matter. There's a little bit of money that's about the principle. And then also everybody tithe. Most Christians tithe. But then we practice this third principle rather, of tithing to yourself. And we break it down in 3 parts. And one part of that you give to the poor and to the stranger. And another part of that you save for your retirement. Now, those of you that want to invest, you're on my financial wellness plan, go into your retirement account, look at it and say, okay, how much can I afford to lose? Because it is the stock market. Take that out of there and buy some shares of McDonald's. If you already own some, I would say add some more over there. Because something is going on with them that is going to take it through the roof, I believe. Because I think that was also referring to that. Because now somebody else will say, well, we saw McDonald's got rid of a whole lot of brick and mortar, but if you really understand what they were doing, they're really changing, like America's Black Prophet of God will say, from the brick and mortar to the click and order. Oh, and we saw Pinterest that paid $80 million in San Francisco to get rid of brick and mortar. So I think some companies are beginning to see the future. Thank you, LaRonda. Are beginning to see the future and where we're going and how things are going to be. So I would do that if I were you. If you're in the stock market, I definitely would do that. Thank you, AD. All right. Yeah, McDonald's is pivoting. Yeah, they're not closing. They're not shutting down. Some of these bankruptcies we're seeing from these companies is pivoting. Yeah. All right, this sort of seemed like I was talking to patrons and not just on the main platform. But any darn way, I forgot the other thing I said I was gonna somebody said patron stuff in the public, mad face. All right, I'm gonna stop. I ain't gonna do no more. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Take care of yourself and remember what you heard in the Presbyterian's voice. So whether you're voting for him or not, you need to know that truth and how he leads, and then make your decisions. All right, I'll see you guys later. And I love you a whole lot. Yes, I do. Thank you, Jesus. Love you. Hallelujah. All right, don't y'all forget to hit that and support, because I know this might be disappearing in this little piece the way they be doing. Blah.